Intercultural Foundations, Emotional Literacy. Research in the fields of inclusion and intercultural development strongly indicate that emotional literacy is critical in the faces of the stress that we will experience when engaging in intercultural interactions. Psychological studies have made a connection between social pain, such as rejection, judgment, shame, and fear, and how these share overlapping neural regions with physical pain in the brain. Emotional literacy includes approaches such as understanding how power and privilege are socialized as both intellectual and affective processes. Emotional literacy is not an achievement model, rather it is a process model that is lifelong. Emotional literacy asks us to consider injecting more nuance and go beyond the binaries of good and bad, right and wrong. Emotional literacy asks us to recognize that as people engage with ethical questions, they are also going to experience strong emotions. Valuing the intellect above the emotional is deeply problematic in Western societies and in education, and this value can be strongly linked to Eurocentrism. Several equity and inclusion scholars say that addressing the issues of oppression only through the intellect is a disservice. It is like throwing a fire extinguisher to a drowning person. It is the wrong tool for the task. Neurological studies have demonstrated that the thinking part of our brain shuts down when triggered into emotions such as anger, shame, and guilt, while reactive fight, flight, or freeze takes over. When we're in such a state, and when we experience shame especially, we are not able to learn in productive ways. Because we're likely to experience strong emotions as we unpack the values and beliefs in the depths of our cultural iceberg, we need to be equipped with tools to help us regulate our emotional reactions so that we might respond more mindfully. We have been socialized to value some emotions over others, and the effect of this socialization means that sometimes we cannot process the emotions that we consider negative or ones to avoid, such as anger. In many instances, it's perfectly appropriate to feel anger as we experience and/or learn about injustices of the world. Emotional literacy approaches such as self-awareness, mindfulness, and reflective writing teach us how to better manage ourselves in moments when we're angry and how to channel the energy of our anger in more appropriate ways. Questions to consider when developing our emotional literacy are: how are we socialized to feel? At home? At work? In the classroom? In education, there's so much value placed on thinking knowledge, and as such, emotional and feeling intelligence are not well recognized. With an emphasis on thinking expertise, what happens when we don't know? Try the gesture of an open palm. This openness is exactly what is needed when we develop our intercultural and inclusive capacities. It is beginner's mind. The spirit of being open and willing to learn ties closely to cultural humility. Being open to not know and turning to learn from each other about different worldviews, keeping our palms open, not judging or grasping to understand with just our minds, but also with our hearts. To move towards inclusive interculturalization in international education, then, we need to bring our whole selves and refine our abilities to work with our emotions as we work respectfully, with humility, to learn from, about, and through our diverse differences.